Hello and welcome. I'm Stuart Craner, co-founder of Thinkers50. Every year, Thinkers50 inducts new management thinkers into its Hall of Fame, which is supported by our partners at the Hire Group. The Hall of Fame recognizes and celebrates thinkers who have made a significant long-term contribution to management thinking and practice. This year's inductees into the Hall of Fame are a stellar group, and it is a pleasure to recognize their contribution. Today, I'm joined by one of our new inductees, Subir Chowdhury. Subir is chairman and CSO of ASI Consulting Group. He's a champion of the theory and practice of quality in organizations and a philanthropist. Born in Chittagong, Bangladesh, he's the author of 15 books, including The Difference, The Ice Cream Maker, Next Generation Business Handbook, The Power of Six Sigma, and Management 21C. His books have sold more than 1 million copies and have been translated into more than 20 languages. His Design for Six Sigma was the first book written on the subject. He co-authored 3 books with the Japanese quality guru, Dr. Genichi Taguchi, and was described as the quality prophet by BusinessWeek. Subir, really nice to talk to you. Welcome. Congratulations on joining the Thinkers50 Hall of Fame. You've come a long way in life, from Chittagong in Bangladesh to
Right.
Los Angeles, where you're speaking from today.
Right.
Can you start by telling us about your formative years in Bangladesh?
Oh, thank you so much, first of all, Stuart, to both you and Des and all the Thinker50 leadership for recognizing my work. One of the things is that I wanted to really thank you and Des for your vision for last more than 20 years of kind of promoting the business management thinkers works. And we are very grateful. With respect of this year's induction ceremony, when I received your email, it really touched me because most of the past recipient of this recognition was kind of some of them used to be my mentors. Some of them, of course, passed away. And over the years, they became very close friends, like people like Marshall Goldsmith, C.K. Prahlad, Shumantra Ghoshal. And a lot of them, I personally worked with them when I was kind of beginning of my career. So most of them are almost 20, 25 years older than me. I'm 56 now. So coming at this age, it's kind of also a very humbling experience for me. So with respect of, I was born, as you know, that in Chittagong, Bangladesh. And I was, in fact, my father wanted me to be a physician because he has a kind of a pharmacy shop in Chittagong. So his whole dream was, I have 2 sisters, but I'm the son, so I'm going to manage his business, become a physician, and also on the side manage his business. So in fact, he pushed me so hard to get into medical school. He doesn't want me to apply to any other schools. It was kind of a very authoritative type of father I had, but rightfully so, because he put a lot of the ingredients in me. So ultimately, I get into medical school to please him, and ultimately I admitted into Chittagong Medical College. I, in fact, was started there for almost 5 or 6 months in Chittagong Medical College. But my dream at that time was to become an aerospace engineer. That was my dream. And I was, as you know, that I was born in 1967. But because of the moon landing and everything else, when I was a child, is still everybody talking about it. So my hero was kind of from my childhood about this all these 3 astronauts, who landed in the moon. So I end up with that was the dream I had to pursue aerospace engineering. So I get into one of the Asia's, and in fact the world's, one of the top and very competitive institute called IIT. Even in my batch, in the whole country of Bangladesh, only 5 students got in. It's called Indian Institute of Technology in IIT. It's very difficult, to get in. So anyway, so I was very fortunate to get in. And once I got in, in fact, my mom used to know I applied, but my dad didn't have any clue. Then I said, I'm going to quit and I'm going to go. And he said, no, you cannot do that. So he personally traveled from Chittagong to Kharagpur in IIT Kharagpur campus, met with a lot of the professors to understand. So once he landed in India, that he talked with his friends, they are saying, "Are you out of your mind? It's so difficult to get in, and what your son will do with the Chittagong Medical College degree versus IIT is that let him fulfill his dream. If somebody wants to be a doctor, that's great, and they can graduate from Chittagong Medical College and become a physician. But if he really wanted to pursue this aerospace engineering and one of the top institutes he got into, let him go." So that is the way. So I ultimately left medical college and get into IIT. And after I graduated from IIT, I came back in Bangladesh, and my first job in the Apple Computers, just so that you know, I worked for Apple Computers in Bangladesh for 2 years in Dhaka before I came to US. And I established the first computer magazine for the country of Bangladesh. I don't know if you knew about it. It's a magazine called Silicon. So I started the first computer magazine in Bangladesh. And then at that time, the Apple is just entering the market. Nobody even know how to use an Apple computer. So I literally opened the first Apple, get into Bangladesh. And in fact, the current Bangladesh IT minister, he was one of the founder of one of the company at that time. So I was working for one of his competitive companies in Bangladesh. And at that time, I came to know a lot of Americans and British and a lot of the different European companies. I have been implementing Apple systems. So a lot of those people, Americans especially, influenced me, saying that, "Subir, why don't you just go to the US? If you don't like it, you come back. But the kind of guy you are, maybe you will become a global citizen one day." So I left Bangladesh in 1991. Maybe I was like 23, 24 years old came to Michigan to do my master's. So that is my kind of background.
And we get a sense of talking to Subir, what kind of child you must have been like, because you've still got the energy and the passion. You must have been a very I can imagine you as a very inquisitive and curious child who must have been quite annoying to your parents at times.
Yeah, but I think the amazing part is that this is very interesting. My grandfather influence is stunning. Like my grandfather was a primary school teacher. So that means K to 5 school teacher. And there is my maternal grandfather, because I've never seen my like a father side of the grandparents, because they died when my father was only 5 years old. So my maternal grandfather, my mother's side, he used to spend enormous amount of time with me, because he used to get maybe his brain food from me, and I used to get my brain food from him. So he used to give me, and very honest with you, in fact, I wrote an article, I think in Fortune magazine, that what my grandfather taught me, I now teaches Fortune 100 CEOs today. And majority of the lots of my management principle, he literally taught me, and and at that time I didn't understand it. So for an example, when I was like a 5-6 years old, he used to give me a pen and a coin, just a pen and a coin, and say, "Should we choose one of the two?" So every time I choose a coin, he used to say, "Never choose a coin," because, so he said, "Why you choose the coin? Tell me." So I used to say, "Okay, Grandpa, I can buy some chocolate and this and that." And he said, "Okay, look, after that, coin will be gone. As soon as you buy the chocolate, coin, where is coin? Gone. But if you start with a pen, you will have so much of coin in your life, you don't know where to keep. And then what you're going to do, you will give to other people those coins." And I literally didn't. So I said, "Grandpa, you truly believe that?" He said, "Yes. He said, anything you see in the world, anything you see in the world, except the nature, everything is created by the pen. So any painting, any books, anything. So anything you see, why didn't you start?" So suppose you read a book. If you like the book, or if you don't like the book, you write to the author. I said, "Grandpa, I'm a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. If I write to the top laureates, top author, they may not even reply me." He said, "If they don't reply you, write it again." I said, "Grandpa, if I write 100 letters, if they don't reply," he said, "write 101st letter." So think about this. And Stuart, later on in my life, it shaped me. Because what happened was, by the time I was 12 years old, not only Bangladesh, also in India, all the top laureates, actor, actress, like a artist, painters, they became my friend at the age of 12, right? So my leadership skills I developed that age. So you think about it, I'm dining with some of the top laureates, right? They might be mid 40s, mid 50s, mid 60s, and I'm dining with them, and I was 12 years old. I was one of their youngest friend. So I was developing my leadership skill without even knowing I was developing a skill. So that really helped me because of the writing the letters to them. Now, after that, when I came to America, when I was writing my first book, that QS 9000 Pioneers, the first book, one of the things I told my publisher, that this book is not going to be published until every single living giant of quality read the manuscript and critique the manuscript. So publisher asked me, do you know any one of them? I said, are you kidding? I'm 26 years old. I don't know none of them. He said, Subir, how you say that? We cannot take that chance. I said, if you cannot sign that contract, I'm not going to. He said, so then guess what happened? Because I used the same principle at that time, there's no email, right? It's all fax. I'm talking about 96, email just coming in, right? 96 is not readily available. So I started doing fax. So I don't know any one of them. Dr. Taguchi, Philip Crosby, J.D. Power, none of them I personally know. None. If they don't reply, I fax it again. If they don't reply, fax it again. Guess what happened? They did. Ultimately, every one of them gave up. Every one of them came to launch my book. In fact, I didn't have enough money to pay their travel expense. All of them came from Japan, from Los Angeles, to come to Chicago in American Society for Quality's Congress to launch my book. And that made my career, because I was 27 years old, launching my first book, all the giant of quality. In fact, in the field of quality, not even a single book is written till today. Every single giant of quality endorsed that book at that time. So, and there is some very important lesson on this. And I think for the younger generation, especially of your radar thinkers, I think it's very important, this particular point. My grandfather used to play with me when I was a young kid. He used to say, hey, Subir, those dirty pigs there, just go there and play with them. So there's some piglets, like there. So he said, play with them. So I play with them for 10, 15 minutes. And then he said, come back. Then he said, okay, how you smell? I said, I smell like a pig. He said, okay, remember that. So then, 1 week later, he wanted me to play with some girls, young girls, and I play with them and came back. And in Bangladesh, it's so hot, they used to use talcum powder, right, in their face. So I said, oh, I smell like talcum powder. He said, okay, you smell good. So you always remember, if you hang around with the people, then other people will think you are one of them. So always remember that. So once you keep your aim high, so what happened is that I used the techniques. So later on, when my book came out, all the people, I was 27, 28 years old, people are already thinking as if I'm one of the giant, will be the future giant of quality, right? And at that time, because they've never seen so many quality giants coming in, to launch my book. And after that, I became very close friend with all of those people, all my mentors. And then all the mentors really wanted to have a kind of a indirect fight. Everybody wants to hire me. Everybody wants to work with me. So that kind of changed my life, in the kind of the quality field. So, yeah. But the roots are, the foundational roots is about what I've learned, some of the techniques from my grandfather.
Yeah, your grandfather sounds like a fantastic teacher.
Yes, amazing teacher. Yeah.
So there's that kind of desire to improve when you're young. Is very quality related principle, isn't it?
It is kind of the quality of life principle, right? It is the quality of life, and which I'm kind of working on right now, because I never even know the word quality. In fact, until I even, very blunt with you, until I even finished my master's degree. Very honest with you, because there's nothing called quality engineering at that time, right? It is part of industrial engineering, right? So when I was working in General Motors, my first job in the US after doing my master's, when I was working at GM, as a quality engineer work. And when I wrote that book, when I met first time with Dr. Taguchi with him, he gave me 15 minutes time to take a picture with him, right? This is even before my first book published. So 15 minutes time to take a picture with him. And that 15 minutes lasted for 3 hours, right? And that changed my life. And so what happened was Dr. Taguchi, I asked the first question to him. I still vividly remember. I asked the first question to him saying that, Dr. Taguchi, what is the definition of quality to you? So he looked at me and he said, Subir, I'm going to answer to you, but I'm not going to repeat the answer. So you have to be very attentive every word I say, because I'm not going to repeat to you. I said, okay. So he said, concentrate. So I concentrated. This is the first time I met with him for 15 minutes. So he looked at me and he said, quality means what customer does not want. I said, excuse me, Dr. Taguchi. He said, you heard it right. Think what I said. And if you find the answer of what I said, then you explain to me. Otherwise, you are done. If you cannot find the answer, let's have a handshake. You take the picture, you go. I said, no, Dr. Taguchi, let me think. So I was thinking, what he said? Because I thought he maybe did a mistake, right? He said quality means what customer does not want, right? So then I was thinking about it, and then he took a little bit nap, and he's, like typical Japanese master, right? Then he went to restroom, came back, 10 minutes passed by. Suddenly I said, Dr. Taguchi, I got the answer. He said, okay, what is the answer? I said, quality means what customer does not want. That's what he said, and I agree with you. He said, okay, what that means? I said, what it means, customer does not talk about quality unless there is a quality problem happen. So our job as an engineer or as a service provider to design or give the service such a way that customer has such a brilliant experience, they don't even think about quality, right? But if customer does not have that experience, then they will think about quality. There's a long time ago, I listened to a lecture by Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs talked about, this is long time ago, before he became, famous as Steve Jobs, at the beginning of his career. He's such a brilliant mind. He said, what I'm seeing, American automakers, American companies only advertise the word quality in their marketing. But Japanese people, so American companies, they talk about, oh, we got the J.D. Power Award. Oh, we got the Quality and Reliability Award. But Japanese company, they never advertise the quality in their advertisement. So they don't use that quality as a marketing. So anyway, so after that discussion with with Dr. Taguchi, he was really impressed that how I found that answer. So he said, hey, Subir, would you like to be my student? I wanted to teach you everything because I said this to thousands of people. Nobody got it. And you got it less than 10 minutes. So this is I'm going to do. I want you to teach you everything I know. And one day you will change the world. I said, Dr. Taguchi, you truly believe that? He said, yes, I do. You will receive every single recognition in the field of quality, and I can see it crystal clear. Would you be my student? I said, of course. So then he canceled on that day. He canceled all his meeting. Meeting didn't stop. Instead of 15 minutes, I spent 3 hours with him. He used to write me letters after letters and faxing it from Japan. And I was very fortunate. And then he never co-authored any book with anybody when he published almost 40 books in his life. Before he first time co-authored with me, and I end up with co-authoring 3 books with him. And then, of course, I learned a lot from him. And Stuart, just so that you know, the foundation of my work is literally driven by a curious mind. 2 things. Number one thing I always feel, even today, after receiving all this recognition, including the recognition from your esteemed organization, I feel I didn't learn enough in life. I feel I'm the dumbest guy in the room. I feel that every day we have to learn something. So learn should not stop. So if you truly believe in your heart that you are still don't know anything. So if you ask me, Subir, did you really believe that you are the number one in quality? I said, no, I'm still learning, because there is so much of problem in the world. If I truly mastered in quality, I feel I'm still a failure. I truly believe that in my heart, right? So, and that really drives me, because of that curiosity and having that type of mindset of learning and making a difference. That really drives me every single day. So if you truly look at my work of lifetime work, initially it was quality standard like QS 9000 Pioneers. Then I worked in Six Sigma, which is much more into the area of how to improve every part of the organization, like finance organization, marketing organization, engineering organization, operation organization, how to improve everything by using the process improvement tool like Six Sigma. That is one of my goals. Then I felt, oh, if you truly improve, if the design is flawed, you may not able to still achieve Six Sigma. So there is a classic story. I was with Jack Welch, because he was one of the top promoter of Six Sigma and implementer of Six Sigma. And I was the number one author of the subject at that time, Power of Six Sigma, because my book was sold more than 1 million copies and all this. So him and I used to go to a lot of the conferences around the world and on that stage together. And so I was very fortunate with him. So one of the time in the stage, I asked him a question, saying that, Jack, I have a question. I could not find the answer. He said, okay. I said, Jack, if I cut your hand by half, if I cut your hand by half and put it together and do a Six Sigma on it, do you think that it will be the same hand? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, no, because it doesn't matter. It is not the same hand. I said, that means, so then why the hell we are doing Six Sigma? That means Six Sigma has a flaw. So don't you think that we should build Six Sigma in design stage? He said, Subir, I'm tired listening from you. You have been talking about this Six Sigma in design, Six Sigma in design for last 2 years, every single time. I said, Jack, I'm telling. He said, damn it, if you truly believe in it so much, why the hell you don't write about it? Why didn't you develop that literature on design, how Six Sigma can be applied in design? So guess what? Then I introduced the first book on design for Six Sigma. So Jack, I tested the idea with Jack and ultimately end up with. So then what happened was I kind of worked with Dr. Taguchi, because Dr. Taguchi's contribution is all about how you do quality built into the engineering stage, design stage, right? So I was very fortunate. So if you look at my work is kind of quality initially I started my career in the quality in a standard. Then I worked how to apply quality in the all sort of organization, in all sort of functions. Then I moved into quality in the design and engineering organizations and all this, and saved literally billions of dollars to lots of corporations, as you know, around the world. And then now my work is much more, with my difference and everything else, my work is much more focused towards how to improve the quality of life. And this is much bigger picture. Maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I've become more like a philosophy. So I'm taking the quality to much more like a philosophical side. Because if you ask me now, Subir, who's your current hero of quality? I will not say Dr. Taguchi. I will not say Dr. Deming. I will not say J.D. Power or even anyone else, like a Dr. Deming or Juran, none of them. So do you know whom I'll say? I'll say my quality hero is Mother Teresa. He said, why? You may ask why. Because she improved the quality of life, irrespective of their religion. And I know that some people talk about she did that because of the promotion of Catholics and all this. I don't care. Bottom line is she has still improved the quality of life of all types of religious people. I've seen it firsthand. So to me, another person is Swami Vivekananda, right? He's another big Swamiji from India. He was one of the pioneer of, in fact, one of Mother Teresa's inspiration was Swami Vivekananda, and he's also from Calcutta. That is the reason Mother Teresa started her work in Calcutta. So he's another person. So I get the inspiration from them and trying to think about how can I improve the quality of life of individual. Because at the end of the day, if people are not, and this is a very important point, if you are not a quality human being, you cannot practice quality. You will not achieve quality. Unfortunately, there is lots of senior executives I work in my life. They're not a good quality human being. You understand? That is the part which kind of bothers me. So I feel that everything I've done for last 25 years is not enough. It's failure, because I should have been done the other things first. I should have been made them a good quality human being before I teach them the quality process or quality of engineering. Sorry, I talk a little bit about it, but I'm very, as you know, I'm very passionate about it, right? So
no, passion's good. And Jack Welch, I mean, you're probably one of the few people who can move from Jack Welch to Mother Teresa so easily in conversation, Subir. And Jack Welch, his legacy has been somewhat tarnished, hasn't it, over the years, as being kind of too focused, too business focused, neutron Jack, and not enhancing the people's lives in the way that was something like Mother Teresa does.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. The question would be that, I think the human can, like Steve Jobs said something very, very profound. He said, connecting the dot after the fact is very easy. Connecting the dot after the fact is very easy, right? So I can tell you right now, if you go to a lot of the corporations, I personally did, and literally saved them billions of dollars, made them unbelievable efficient, made their car from the bottom of the list to the top of the list. But if you personally go and talk with some of the people who are in the middle management, who is the kind of on the engineer level, I guarantee you, they will say a lot of bad thing about even me, right? But that is the human nature. So if you truly believe, did Jack Welch made an impact at GE? Did Jack Welch made an impact of by promoting the process improvement and everything? Absolutely, yes. Unbelievable impact in his time. Now, if you look at it now, after that, new other CEO came in. Those CEO did not run the way Jack ran. Companies are like GE fell apart. All those problems happening. That doesn't mean that Jack did not do. So his job, right? So in my opinion, at his time, whatever he's done is brilliant work. Now, at that time, do you think that corporate responsibility and other stuff was as important? No. World changed, organization changed. Like if you talk with every single management guru this year, in Thinker50, if you ask them 10 years from today, how the organization's mindset and organizational behavior, organizational culture, is it different than today? Absolutely. Like think about our own children. Is their mindset is different than what my mindset was? Or my parents' mindset is different than my mindset was? Absolutely, right? Because that is the way the human moves. Now there's an AI and all this stuff. Now, if you ask me if Jack was present now in his prime time, can he make the different types of impact? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. I have zero doubt about it, right? But that doesn't mean I should criticize the man, right? It's the same thing. Like as I said about Mother Teresa, there's a lot of stories written about Mother Teresa's organization, Missionaries of Charity, is force-feeding and forcefully converting people. That is garbage, So because any of these famous people always will have that type of some kind of a criticism or whatever, it happened.
So you've written 15 books, Subir. Which one are you proudest of? Which one, if your grandfather was alive today, which one would you show to your grandfather and say, look, I put what you taught me into practice?
So first of all is that I kind of feel now, like at this moment, I kind of feel that none of them made impact, even though world says it made a huge impact, right? So that kind of drives me to the future. But each of them kind of contributed in a different way. So I cannot just make it, because try to solve the problem. So for an example, when I wrote The Power of Six Sigma, by the way, even when I wrote the Management 21C, that is even before that, right? So Management 21C, that is the way you and I came to know about it. If you look at it, that book was the first book in the field of management that brought so many giants of the field of management together to predict the future of management. So what happened is that when I was planning to write that book, the first person I contacted was Peter Drucker on the phone. Now, Peter was shocked. First of all, he said, who the hell I am, trying to talk with him. But anyway, after 15 minutes of conversation, he basically said, I love your ideas, but this is the situation. I'm currently writing a book myself. It's called The Management Challenges of the 21st Century. Myself. So because I'm writing a book that's similar to what you are planning to do, I don't want to be part of your book. So I'm writing that book. But I think I love your idea of bringing all the management gurus around the world together. Now you have to understand, I didn't have an MBA. I didn't have a PhD in management. And I was nobody. I was kind of an upcoming star in quality management, not in the pure management field. But that is the time my leadership came in, and I brought all the giant and most of your Hall of Fame, first 10 years of thinkers. I brought all of them. I didn't know any one of them at that time, and brought all of them under one umbrella. And and by the way, every single person declined me at least 5-6 times but I accepted no from anybody, and ultimately brought that book. And that book became European Book of the Year. And that brought me into the whole field of management. And then I became friends with all these people. That book became so successful and everything else. So I kind of impacted in them. And then later on from that book, I wrote Organization 21C. I established the Next Generation Business Handbook. There's so many. So each of them has some contribution. Power of Six Sigma, when literally thousands of organizations around the world is doing Six Sigma implementation. But if you ask the people, like a common worker, in a common people, if you ask them about Six Sigma, they don't know what the Six Sigma is. They don't know because they're not a statistician. So I thought, how can I write a book in a kind of Who Moved My Cheese style of book, or a 1-minute manager style of book, that anybody from a janitor to all the way to the CEO can understand Six Sigma. So even if you give it to a 12-year-old boy or girl to read the Power of Six Sigma, and if they read it, they can tell you exactly what Six Sigma is. Nobody in the field of quality, even till now, have written a book in that format to kind of explain the methods in and that's why that book has been distributed, like Caterpillar distributed 72,000 copies. One company. So thousands of companies distributed as a communication tool, right? That Power of Six Sigma. Then the ice cream maker kind of, one time I was visiting my mom, and my mom asked me, saying that, Subir, you wrote so many books, and can you give me a book that I can understand in quality? So I felt, okay, I'm going to write. At that time, my daughter maybe 5 or 6 year old, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to write a book which will, I think she was 4 years old. I said, I'm going to write a book which my mother as well as my daughter will understand, right? So that is the way I wrote the ice cream maker book, right? My latest book is about, which I'm very proud of, because that is the latest book, which I was very proud of, is the book about the difference, how to make a difference. I believe anybody in the world at any position can make a difference, anybody. So I wanted to kind of inspire them and how to teach them the quality mindset. I call it as a caring mindset because I was inspired by Carol Dweck, who is also kind of, she's the pioneer in the mindset area. And so that book kind of inspired me, and I kind of did it, that idea about how to develop the caring mindset by any individual at any organization. So that kind of inspired. So that's kind of making a difference book. Now, apart from that, all the engineering book I've co-authored with Dr. Taguchi, I don't know if you know about it, those are also absolutely the highest selling book. And I don't know, I'm one of the very few guys are also receiving the highest recognition from a lot of the engineering societies, like Society of Manufacturing Engineers in UK, IIT, that Institute of Engineering and Technology. So I was one of the amazing part about the field of quality is it has an impact on the business management as well as it has an impact on the engineering, and my field, my work has an impact on both. So that is one of the reasons I think it's very rare to find people who are achieving the highest recognition both in engineering as well as in the business management, because the quality is universal.
Now, where are we with quality now? Because quality was discovered kind of accidentally in America in the 1980s when there was an NBC program about Deming, And that's
Right.
how American corporations discovered Deming, and then
Right.
from Deming you got Duran, you got Philip Crosby, and,
Right.
and others, and then Six Sigma, which
Right.
you championed. Where are we now, do you think, in our kind of understanding of quality and the culture around quality?
So I think that right now we are living in a time that I don't think anybody is looking into quality. So quality is really deteriorating, in my opinion. But everybody is AI, AI, AI. But one of the amazing part about America is that, unfortunately or fortunately, is that is always, in my viewpoint, is looking for the next thing. They are not satisfied after 5 years or 6 years. They're not satisfied. They go for the next one, right? That is the whole mentality is there. So we have a different time. So now, if you look at quality, they call it as like an operational excellence. Instead of Six Sigma, they call it operational excellence, right? So in that brand, we have done. But if you look at it, the tools are the same, methodology are the same. I strongly feel that, like for example, in Six Sigma, Design for Six Sigma, I kind of connected the dot between the finance, the money, and quality. That really helped, right? Because leadership language is money, right? But like even if you look at the Japan right now, if you go to Japan right now, you'll be surprised that the current generation of Japanese, they are not the same mindset of quality anymore. So Japanese quality is kind of deteriorating too. So if you look at the quality of the product or quality of the service, I think, in my viewpoint, last 5-6 years, it deteriorated tremendously compared to what we had before. But because we had so much of innovations and everything going on, they had so much of lessons learned in, they had so much of design became much better, built-in quality is already there. Because of that, I think that it's still product is not as much as suffering. But if you go to, suppose, airlines industry, if you go to service industry, quality is very bad. Quality is very poor. So I think maybe some other methodology or something will again emerge when when the corporations will drop the market share or they're suffering tremendously. Maybe it will come back. But overall, I'm not happy what's going on right now with respect of quality.
Yeah, there's a sense that it's being siloed into operational matters in the way that it was historically, rather than the broader philosophy on life that
Right.
that you take.
Right. Yes.
And we should talk about, I mean, your grandfather's, the choice between the pen and the coin. That the pen in terms of literature and art is also really important to you, and you've done a lot of work in championing great writers as well. And you have the same attitude to that, in that you connect directly with them, Nobel Prize winners, etc.
Right. So so when you're talking about the quality in general of quality of life, I kind of feel that, even in right now, one of the things I really feel very strongly about this, humans are becoming much more in silo and in a kind of individualistic world, right? If I'm okay, I'm successful, I'm getting all the recognition, and I'm okay, I'm getting millions of likes, or all these things in social media and all this stuff happening, and life is good, and they don't care about anybody else. And that is very sad. It's absolutely sad. And I kind of worry about it for the next generation, the current generation. If you even ask a lot of the current generations in America, is American dreams still exist? I think you'll be surprised. A lot of the youth will say it doesn't exist, right? But I still feel that no, it is, American dream is still alive. This country, anything I breathe, anything I dream in this country, anything I dream, I achieve in this country. Anything I dream, I achieve, including doing, real estate deal with American president or a different. So anything I dream, I achieved in this country. So, but in my mind, the dream is alive. So the problem is, like, one of the things what I was thinking, that I always felt that if you ask me, every single day I get my inspiration from music of Rabindranath Tagore. He's the first non-white, first Asian laureate of literature. In fact, I think he was nominated by Kids, at that time, for the Nobel Prize, and he he's one of the amazing philosopher, I should say, because not only he wrote in the literature for the poetry and he got the Nobel Prize on, but he's also his painting. He has started the painting at the age of 70, and last 10 years of his life, whatever he painted now became one of the most sought after painting around the world, right? In fact, I collected a lot of those painting myself, very few, very rare. So, and then he did a music genre. And right now in Bengali, in Bengali in Bangladesh, as well as in West Bengal of India, in Bengali language, his song and his genre, they call it Robindra Sangit. That means the song of Rabindranath. His songs are most inspirational, and very honest with you, even if I send you his poem or whatever they read and gave him the Nobel Prize, if I read the Bengali version versus the English version, the essence, you may not get even 5%. 5%. The feeling, you will not get even 5%, and you will still be excited about it. So by 5% reading of his English verse, he was given a Nobel Prize. But when I'm reading the same poem in Bengali, the essence I'm getting is completely different, right? So his music gives me unbelievable amount of inspiration to me. So because of that, and then I kind of, I'm sure you may know that I think I might be one of the top 5 collector of Asian arts in America right now, right? Especially from India, and especially in India, they declared 9 artists as the National Treasure Artist of India. And their artwork in 1960s or 70s, after that date, that nobody can bring their artwork outside of India. That is banned, right? So only thing you can collect is outside of India, whatever you collect. So I'm collecting those artwork around the world outside of India and bringing. So I have lots of National Treasure of Indian artist artwork. And very honest with you, do you know who used to be that collector? Shumantra Ghoshal. Shumantra Ghoshal, when I first met him in 1999 at London Business School, in his office, the first question I asked him, Dr. Ghoshal, is it Jamini Roy real? And he gave me a smile. He said, yes. So I said, wow, you collect art? He said, yes. I was very, I collect only the National Treasure artists. I said, wow, that's very impressive. At that time, I didn't have the money to collect, right? At that time. But it has stuck with me that Shumantra get a lot of it. And I don't know if you knew, C.K. Prahlad is one of the top art collector too. C.K. Prahlad. I don't know if you know. Like even Marshall Goldsmith told me, oh, Subir, you go to his home, you'll be amazed. In fact, Marshall Goldsmith, I was in fact at his home with my family, at his home in Tennessee 2 months ago. And we had a fantastic time. Marshall and his wife hosted us, my whole family. My son is doing some summer program in Vanderbilt University, and his daughter is a professor there. And so we went to his home. He gave us a complete tour, and his art collection. He collect the art of master painter of Europe, Marshall. So I've been doing that art collection, and apart from that, I don't know if I ever told you, Radha sculpture. I get unbelievable amount of inspiration from Radha. So for an example, in my most stressful day, do you know what I do? My most stressful day, I literally put a Tagore music and looking at the Radha sculpture I have at my home and looking at it for 2 hours, 3 hours, sitting there. And I kind of connect the dot between the music and his sculpture. So I have the original Radha sculpture of, I think, like 7 or 8 of them, just so that you know. In fact, I wanted to show you one. Look at this. Look at this Radha sculpture. This is the real Radha sculpture, right? So look at that. So even this, I kind of look at it and get inspiration out of that, right? With the why he did this, and plus my art collection is all about the human life story. So I kind of encourage people, even the management thinkers, if they can read more fiction book rather than or poetry and literature, because I believe if they do that, their management thoughts will become even more enriched. They will come up with a much better theory based on that. That is my personal experience. So because of that, in America, I established something called Chowdhury Prize, as you know, in USC, is about given to a world most upcoming laureate, which can have a potential to become a Nobel laureate in literature. They recognize that person and give the prize. And I think the prize money is around $25,000 or something like that. Every year, last 3 years, it has been given. So I kind of encouraging, and some of the money I made from the consulting, I established that. And I established the first Center of Bangladeshi Studies at UC Berkeley. I also established, and the motto of that work, because that is my gift to my country, my motherland, the motto of that center is to improve the quality of life of Bangladeshis. So that means all the researches is related to the Bangladesh improvement of quality of life of Bangladesh. So they are working in arsenic water improvement, all kind of work, that healthcare related work, all types of Bangladesh related work. Like for an example, there is why during the election, the violence, why the political parties use the violence as a strategy, how to stop that. That kind of research is going on, in that. And, I established a fellowship in London School of Economics to improve the quality of life in Bangladesh and India, in London School of Economics and quality in economics. So I've done a lot of that, and also established a first quality and reliability school in IIT in India. So I've been kind of, whatever money I made in my consulting, trying to give it back to the right cause, what I'm really passionate about. But of course, the quality of life is the foundation of that work. Plus, I'm also a big supporter of Missionary of Charity and Ramakrishna Mission, which is also Swami Vivekananda's work. So I kind of also support them as well.
Subir, we're out of time. It was brilliant having an oversight of your career and your development. I think you're proof that, as you say, that the American dream is alive and well, but also that your grandfather's values are alive and well.
No, I think also, Stuart, I'm also very grateful to the people like yourself, people like Des, people like Marshall Goldsmith or C.K. Prahlad or Shumanta Ghoshal or Rosabeth Moskanter. All these people, when I was young, even some of these people, you and I and Des are similar age group. But and you remember in Management 21, when I first met with you, even at that time, the dream I had, right, to make a difference, to make a dent. I think having that type of mindset, anything is possible in life if you really have that kind of a very big vision and go about it, and having the unbelievable amount of tenacity to learn and to respect. I think the word respect is missing in our society. Go to the people like, like some of the stuffs I learned from even Marshall, because Marshall is almost 20 years older than me, right? So when I first met Marshall, he might be 50 and I might be 30, right? So I was trying to go and to learn from him, right? And later on, not only I learned from him, we became so close friends, right? And we did all kind of stuff, and then we learned from each other, right? So it became a friend. So I think those people uplifted me tremendously. Like, it's much more like I talk about out of the 0 versus 9, what is important? This is the last story I wanted to tell you. My grandfather also taught me this. 0 and 9. What is more powerful? 0 and 9. So every time I tell him 9, he said, no, 0 is more powerful. I said, why? He said, 0 on its own doesn't have any value. But if you put a number in front of it, it becomes powerful. 9 automatically has its own value, right? But if you put a number on 0, so he said, Subir, always remember in your life, when you achieve everything, you think yourself, when you go to your room, you think yourself, you're 0. Why? Because other people, you become 10. How you become 10? Other 9 people made you 10. So always remember and grateful those 9 people. Without those 9 people, you are 0. So you never become 10. Also, whatever you achieve, always think you achieved nothing. Those people recognized your work. That's why you are something. So he asked me a question when Rabindranath Tagore sit in his own own room and nobody cares about his work or nothing, what do you think he is? Zero. But as soon as the people started reading his book, as soon as people uplift his work and getting joy, then Rabindranath Tagore becomes a Nobel laureate. So all of your recognition means nothing because other people made a contribution in your life to enrich your life. So if you are having that type of mindset, then you are improving quality of life. That's what, so I always feel every day I wake up, I feel I'm zero, right? So I kind of very grateful to people like you, people like Des, people like Marshall and CK, all these people in your Thinker50, including the younger generation. Even some of the younger generation's book I read, I get inspired by them. I learn from them. So, they're upcoming, their rudder doesn't mean they will not be one day become Peter Drucker. They will. So try to recognize that's what happened to with me. Because once upon a time, I was also at their shoe, right? So I wanted to kind of also encourage them and do that. And I think that is missing. That is missing. And I believe the business school, the management thinkers should more emphasize that part of life so that, that how to improve that quality of life and how each of them becomes zero rather than putting their ego in their pocket, And if you have that, then you can make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to live my life with. And I feel very good and happy about it.
Subir, thank you very much. Fantastic story to end on. You have made a difference. And if you want to find out more about Subir's work, check out subirchowdhury.com. Amazing range of work, lots of interesting books and lots of materials there to get interested about. So Subir, thank you very much. Congratulations for joining the Thinkers50 Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.